In the vast expanse of the Milky Way, where countless civilizations had long since mapped and categorized every habitable world, an astonishing discovery was about to shake the foundations of galactic society. The Zephyrian exploration vessel Star Whisper drifted silently through an unremarkable sector of space, its crew of seasoned xenobiologists and planetary surveyors expecting nothing more than another routine mission. Captain Lyra Voxis, a veteran of 100 planetary surveys, stood on the bridge of the Star Whisper, her iridescent scales shimmering under the soft bioluminescent lighting. Her 4 eyes, each adapted to a different spectrum of light, scanned the holographic displays surrounding her. Something wasn't right. Triskel, she called to her navigation officer, a being composed of swirling gases contained within a translucent exoskeleton, run a diagnostic on our star charts. I'm seeing a discrepancy in the gravitational readings for this sector. Triskel's form pulsed with shades of blue and green as it processed the request. Captain, the star charts are functioning correctly. The gravitational anomaly is real. There's something here that shouldn't be. Excitement rippled through the bridge crew. In a galaxy where every star and planet had been meticulously catalogued, the prospect of something new was almost unthinkable. Full sensor sweep, Lyra ordered, her dorsal crest rising in anticipation. Whatever's out there, I want to know everything about it. As the Star Whisper's advanced sensors probed the surrounding space, a world unlike any they had ever encountered began to take shape in their holographic displays. A planet, blue and green and swirling with white clouds, emerged from the darkness. Impossible, whispered Zex, the chief xenobiologist, his tentacles writhing in agitation. Our records show nothing in this sector but empty space. How could we have missed an entire planet? Lyra's mind raced with possibilities. A cloaking device of unimaginable power. A spatial anomaly that had hidden the world from view. Or something even stranger. Preliminary analysis, she commanded, pushing her speculation aside. There would be time for theories later. Now was the time for facts. The sensor data poured in, and with each new piece of information, the impossible became even more improbable. The atmosphere was a volatile mix of gases, primarily nitrogen and oxygen, a combination rarely seen in stable form. The surface was a patchwork of environments, from searing deserts to frozen tundras, with vast oceans covering much of the planet. But it was the gravity that truly set this world apart. At 9.8 meters per second squared, it was nearly twice the galactic standard for habitable planets. Such conditions should have made complex life impossible. Yet, as they watched in stunned silence, the sensors revealed a world teeming with life. Millions of species, each more improbable than the last, filled every niche of this death trap of a planet. Captain, Zex said, his voice trembling with a mixture of fear and excitement, I believe we've discovered a Class 13 Deathworld. The declaration sent shockwaves through the crew. Class 13 Deathworlds were theoretical, planets so hostile to life that their very existence defied the laws of nature as the galaxy understood them. No sapient species had ever been found on anything higher than a Class 10. There's more, Triskel interjected, its gaseous form swirling with intense patterns of red and gold. I'm detecting artificial structures, vast cities, a primitive orbital presence, electromagnetic emissions across a wide spectrum. Lyra felt her hearts racing. Not just life, but sapient life. On a Class 13 Deathworld, it was beyond impossible. It was miracle. Prepare a full report for Galactic Central, she ordered, her voice steady despite the turmoil of emotions within her. And set us on an approach vector. We're going in for a closer look. As the Star Whisper moved towards the blue-green world, Lyra couldn't shake the feeling that they were on the brink of something momentous. This wasn't just a new discovery, it was a challenge to everything they thought they knew about life in the universe. The ship entered high orbit, and the crew got their first clear view of the planet's surface. The sensors had not done it justice. Sprawling metropolises covered vast areas of the land, their lights visible even from space. Vehicles of all shapes and sizes moved across the surface and through the air, evidence of a highly advanced technological civilization. How? Zex wondered aloud, voicing the question on everyone's mind. How could life not just survive, but thrive in these conditions? Lyra had no answer, but she knew they had to find out. This world and its inhabitants could revolutionize their understanding of biology, physics, and the very nature of life itself. Initiate first contact protocols, she commanded, her voice filled with determination. But let's proceed with extreme caution. We don't know what a species shaped by such a world is capable of. As the Star Whisper began broadcasting the standard greeting messages used for peaceful first contact scenarios, Lyra couldn't help but feel a mix of excitement and trepidation. They were about to meet beings who had conquered a world that by all rights should have been uninhabitable. What kind of creatures could survive, even flourish, in such hostile conditions? How had they evolved? What kind of society would such a brutal crucible produce? And most importantly, how would they react to the sudden realization that they were not alone in the universe? The answers to these questions would soon reshape the galaxy in ways none of them could have imagined. For the crew of the Star Whisper, and indeed for all sapient species in the Milky Way, nothing would ever be the same again. As they waited for a response to their greeting, Lyra made a decision. She opened a channel to Galactic Central, bypassing the usual protocols for new discoveries. This was too important, too revolutionary to be bogged down in bureaucracy. Galactic Central. This is Captain Lyra Voxis of the Zephyrian exploration vessel Star Whisper, she began, her voice steady and clear. We have made a discovery of unprecedented importance. We have found a Class 13 Deathworld, possibly even a Class 14, inhabited by a technologically advanced sapient species. She paused, letting the magnitude of her words sink in. I repeat, we have found sapient life on a Deathworld. We are initiating first contact procedures now. Request immediate support and guidance. The galaxy as we know is about to change. As she ended the transmission, Lyra turned her gaze back to the view screen, where the blue-green world hung against the backdrop of space. Whatever happened next, she knew that the discovery of this world and its inhabitants would be remembered as one of the most significant moments in galactic history. The age of certainty was over. A new era of wonder, of challenge, and of unlimited possibility was about to begin, and it all started here, with this impossible world that defied every law they thought they knew. Earth, the uncharted Deathworld, was about to make its grand entrance onto the galactic stage. Marcus sat quietly at the far end of the conference table, watching as his colleagues debated over the minutiae of their latest project. The Class 10 biosphere they were building was supposed to mimic Earth's conditions for military training. The Ilfrax, the alien species funding the project, seemed overly cautious, their voices trembling slightly as they discussed the planet's quirks. Marcus had been brought on to provide human insight, but the truth was, he found their design far too conservative. They didn't understand Earth, not really. They saw it as another habitable world, a place for their soldiers to train. What they didn't grasp was Earth's hidden danger, its unpredictable nature that had earned it the title of a Deathworld. He stifled a sigh, mentally preparing himself for another round of alien misinterpretations. The Ilfrax, like many species in the Galactic Council, had heard tales of Earth's chaotic ecosystems, but they dismissed them as exaggerated human folklore. Marcus knew better. He had lived through Earth's wrath, and what his colleagues were designing was nothing more than a weak imitation of the planet's true potential. The temperature fluctuations they planned were mild at best, ranging from a chilly -10 degrees Celsius to a warm 40 degrees Celsius, as if that could represent Earth's extremes. They didn't include deadly storms, violent tectonic shifts, or the sheer power of Earth's gravity. The meeting droned on, but Marcus was lost in his own thoughts. He remembered his first assignment on a real Deathworld, years before he became a consultant. The planet was classified as Class 7, far below Earth's level, but still challenging enough for even the most seasoned survivalists. It had been a harsh, grueling mission, but it paled in comparison to Earth. Marcus had seen what his homeworld could do, seeing how its natural forces shaped not just the landscape, but the creatures that lived there. Suddenly, the conversation at the table shifted, pulling Marcus back into the present. "We need to finalize the fauna," one of the lead designers said. "What kind of predators should we introduce?" Marcus raised an eyebrow, curious. This was always his favorite part, watching them try to select creatures that could match Earth's wild fauna. They usually went for something manageable in their eyes, large enough to be a threat but not too dangerous. He knew what was coming next. Something like the Kyrax beast, one designer suggested. Big, fast, but predictable. The soldiers will learn to avoid its territory. Marcus couldn't help but chuckle quietly to himself. The Kyrax was nothing compared to Earth's apex predators. It might be intimidating, but it lacked the cunning, the instinct that Earth's creatures possessed. A Kyrax wouldn't last a day in Earth's jungles. The head designer turned to Marcus, noticing his silence. "You've been quiet, Marcus. Care to weigh in?" Marcus leaned forward, considering his words carefully. "You're thinking too small. Earth's predators are more dangerous because they adapt. They learn, they strategize. If you want to create a real training ground, you need something unpredictable." The room fell silent as the Ilfrax stared at him, confusion etched across their faces. Marcus knew what they were thinking. How could something without advanced intelligence be a true threat? He had tried explaining before, but it never quite sunk in. The galaxy was used to environments where nature was controlled, where survival was based on strength or speed alone. Earth was different. "Take the common house cat," Marcus continued, smirking as he saw the baffled expressions in the room. "Small, cute, harmless, right? Wrong. Cats are natural-born killers. They hunt for sport, not just survival. They toy with their prey, learn their patterns. Now imagine scaling that up. Creatures with the same instincts, but much larger, much stronger. That's what Earth has to offer." A nervous murmur rippled through the room. One of the designers frowned. "But we can't introduce something that dangerous into the training biosphere. Our soldiers are supposed to learn, not die." Marcus shook his head. "If you want them to survive on Earth, or any Deathworld, you need to train them for the worst. Your soldiers can't learn survival if they're not actually at risk." The lead designer leaned back in his chair, clearly weighing Marcus's words. "What do you suggest then?" Marcus thought for a moment, then smiled. "Make them face Earth's unpredictability. Introduce creatures that change their hunting patterns, that can think and strategize. Simulate natural disasters, storms that come without warning, earthquakes that shake the ground without mercy. If you want them to survive a Class 13 Deathworld, you need to make them experience what we humans have lived through." The tension in the room rose. The Ilfrax weren't accustomed to such brutal honesty. To them, war was calculated, risks were measured. But Earth wasn't a place where calculations guaranteed safety. It was chaotic, and only those who could adapt would survive. "We'll take that into consideration," the lead designer said, his tone uncertain. Marcus nodded, knowing they wouldn't. He had seen it too many times before. They would tone down the simulations, make them safer, more manageable. But it didn't matter. One day, they would face Earth, or a planet like it, and then they would learn. And when that day came, Marcus hoped they were ready. As the meeting wrapped up, Marcus stood and gathered his things, ready to leave. Just as he reached the door, the head designer called out to him. "Marcus, wait." He turned, curious. "We've been hearing rumors," the designer began, his voice low. "About Earth. They say it might not just be Class 13. There's talk that it could be higher, Class 14, even." Marcus froze. A Class 14 Deathworld, it was unheard of. But deep down, he wasn't surprised. Earth had always been underestimated. Its dangers went beyond what the Galactic Council could classify. If it was truly Class 14, then it wasn't just dangerous. It was lethal on a level no one had ever seen before. He smiled slightly. I wouldn't doubt it. With that, he left the room, leaving his colleagues to ponder the implications of what he had just said. Earth, a planet they thought they could tame, was far more than they could ever handle. 2 weeks had passed since Marcus's meeting with the Ilfrax design team, and the usual monotony of his assignments had resumed. His proposal to include Earth's true dangers in the training biosphere had been shelved. No surprise there, but something strange had happened. A message came through his personal comms from the Galactic Council, marked urgent. He was summoned for a private inquiry. Marcus felt a twinge of unease as he entered the towering, gleaming spire of the Galactic Council's headquarters. The Council rarely called upon individual consultants like him, much less for a one-on-one session. As he passed through the security gates, the sleek, polished floors and sterile walls of the Council building made him feel oddly out of place. He had spent too much time on wild planets, breathing untamed air. This world of order and precision was foreign to him now. The door to the chamber slid open silently, and he was greeted by the sight of 3 counselors seated in an arc around a central podium. Each of them wore the flowing robes typical of the council's upper echelon, their faces impassive, yet betraying a glint of curiosity. In the center sat Councillor Valzar, an elder of the Corin species, known for his calm demeanor and relentless pursuit of knowledge. To his left, the Akrathi Councillor Lorak, a tall, slender figure with dark, obsidian skin and piercing amber eyes. To the right, Councillor Serena, a human representative, her eyes flickering with the slightest hint of recognition when she saw Marcus. Marcus Hale, Valzar began, his deep voice resonating through the chamber. You have been summoned to assist the Galactic Council in a matter of utmost importance. We are aware of your recent involvement in a project concerning Earth's biosphere, as well as the alarming conclusions you have drawn regarding your homeworld. Marcus nodded, remaining silent. The council was not a place for idle chatter. Valzar continued, there have been unsettling reports from various sectors of the galaxy. Worlds classified as high-level Deathworlds are becoming unstable, wildlife behaving erratically, extreme weather patterns far surpassing predictions. We believe these events may be connected to the discovery of a structure in deep space, and Earth may hold the key to understanding it. Marcus's mind raced. A structure? In space? The galaxy was filled with ancient ruins and remnants of long-lost civilizations, but none that could destabilize entire planetary ecosystems. He had never heard of anything like this. Lorak leaned forward, his eyes narrowing. It appears the structure is of human origin. That stopped Marcus cold. Human origin. He had spent years consulting on human history and technological advancement, and no records, no legends, had ever suggested that humans built anything of significance in deep space. At least, nothing that would catch the attention of the Galactic Council. Forgive me, Counselor, Marcus spoke up, his voice steady. But what exactly is this structure, and how could it be tied to Earth? Serena, the human counselor, exchanged a glance with Valzar before speaking. Approximately 1 month ago, a survey team from the Richti system detected a massive megastructure beyond the reaches of known space, hovering near the borders of uncharted territory. Its design is unlike anything we've ever seen, except, upon further analysis, fragments of human design elements were detected within its framework. Marcus's brow furrowed. Human design? But that would imply it's ancient, from a time before the current galactic order. Exactly, Serena nodded. The structure is estimated to be over 10,000 years old, predating humanity's recorded history. We believe it may have been created by an ancient human civilization, one lost to time. Marcus's breath caught in his throat. An ancient human civilization. It was impossible. Also, he had always believed. The idea that humanity had once reached the stars, only to collapse and leave no trace, defied all known history. There's more, Valzar added, his gaze fixed on Marcus. The megastructure is active. It's generating energy fields powerful enough to interfere with planetary ecosystems across multiple sectors. Our scientists believe it's destabilizing planets with Earth-like conditions, Deathworlds included. We fear Earth may soon feel its effects. Marcus leaned forward, gripping the edge of the podium. You're saying that something built by ancient humans is responsible for this chaos, and that Earth could be affected. Precisely, Lorak replied, his voice cold. This is why we need you, Marcus. You are one of the foremost experts on Earth's ecosystem. If anyone can help us understand how this structure relates to Earth, it's you. A heavy silence filled the room. The implications were staggering. If an ancient human civilization had built something so powerful, why had it been lost? Why was it only being discovered now? And most importantly, how was Earth connected to it? We're assembling a team to investigate the structure, Serena said. We want you to lead the mission. Marcus stared at her, his mind reeling. Lead the mission? He wasn't a military commander. He was a consultant, an expert on Earth's biosphere, not an adventurer. And yet, there was a pull in his chest, an instinct deep within him that told him this was something he couldn't refuse. I don't have experience with... Marcus began, but Valzar raised a hand to cut him off. We do not ask for your experience in combat or exploration, Marcus Hale. We ask for your insight into what this structure could mean for humanity and the galaxy. Your knowledge of Earth's past and its hidden dangers may be the only thing standing between us and a catastrophe. Marcus hesitated. The thought of leading a mission of this scale was daunting, but it was also an opportunity. An opportunity to uncover humanity's forgotten past, to understand what had been lost, and maybe, just maybe, to save Earth from a threat no one had seen coming. Finally, he nodded. I'll do it. The counselors exchanged satisfied glances, and Valzar gave a slight nod. Good. You will depart in 3 days. The team is already being assembled. Serena stood, approaching Marcus with a look of determination. You'll be briefed fully tomorrow. But understand this. This mission isn't just about the structure. It's about Earth's future. If we don't stop whatever this is, our homeworld could face extinction. Marcus felt a chill run down his spine. Extinction. The word echoed in his mind as he left the chamber, the weight of his decision settling on his shoulders. Whatever lay ahead, it was bigger than anything he had ever imagined. An ancient megastructure, a forgotten human civilization, and the fate of Earth hanging in the balance. It was almost too much to comprehend. But Marcus knew one thing for certain. If humanity had built something so powerful in the distant past, then it was up to him to discover why, and to ensure that history didn't repeat itself. The briefing took place the next day in a secure facility, far from prying eyes and ears. Marcus sat at a long, dimly lit table, surrounded by a small group of hand-picked individuals. Each one was an expert in their field, a galactic archaeologist, a xenobiologist, an engineer, and 2 military officers. The diversity of the team made it clear that this mission was no ordinary assignment. There was no room for error, and Marcus's stomach twisted at the thought of the responsibility now resting on his shoulders. Serena stood at the head of the table, her holographic display casting a blue glow over the room. She had been assigned as the Council's representative, the official liaison between the team and the Galactic Council. She projected calm authority as she spoke, her tone crisp and direct. You've all been briefed on the general parameters of the mission, she began. The megastructure, referred to as the artifact, was discovered in uncharted space beyond the known galaxy. It's massive, spanning nearly 200 kilometers in diameter, and is currently emitting high-frequency energy waves that are disrupting ecosystems across multiple sectors. A holographic image of the artifact appeared, rotating slowly. It was a vast, ominous-looking structure, geometric in design with sharp, angular edges. It glowed faintly in the image, the energy it produced palpable even in the virtual representation. Marcus had never seen anything like it. There was an unnatural quality to the design, like a ghost from the past brought to life. Serena continued, "We believe this artifact was constructed by an ancient human civilization, one that predates any recorded history. The implications of this discovery are staggering, but right now, our priority is understanding how it's affecting Earth and other Deathworlds." Marcus leaned forward, examining the artifact closely. His mind was filled with questions. How had humanity once been capable of such a feat, only to lose it all? And more importantly, why had this structure been hidden away for so long, only to reactivate now? "The energy waves it's emitting are growing stronger by the day," Serena said, her expression grave. "If left unchecked, we could see entire ecosystems collapse. Deaf worlds like Earth, with their extreme environments, are particularly vulnerable. Earth is already showing signs of disruption, albeit subtle ones, shifts in weather patterns, migratory disruptions in wildlife. But the potential for catastrophic damage is very real." She paused, letting the weight of her words sink in. "This mission is to reach the artifact, investigate its purpose, and, if possible, shut it down. We have no idea what awaits us on board, but we must be prepared for anything." The room was silent for a moment as each member of the team absorbed the gravity of the situation. One of the military officers, Captain Elias, a stern-faced man with cropped silver hair, spoke up. "What's our tactical plan if we encounter resistance? Any indication there might be guardians or automated defense systems?" Serena nodded. "We don't know for certain, but given the artifact's age and apparent power, it's possible it has defensive measures in place. That's why you and Commander Vera are part of this team. Your job will be to ensure the safety of the team should anything go wrong. As for Marcus," she turned toward him, "your role will be to analyze the artifact's energy output and determine how it's affecting Earth. We need to know why this structure is destabilizing the Deathworlds, and more importantly, how we can stop it." Marcus gave a slight nod, though the enormity of the task weighed on him. He wasn't used to missions of this magnitude, and the thought of being thrust into an ancient human enigma was as terrifying as it was exhilarating. The hologram of the artifact zoomed out, showing a distant star system. Serena tapped the table, and the image shifted to display a sleek spacecraft. "The Eidolon will take you to the artifact," she said, pointing to the ship. "It's equipped with state-of-the-art cloaking technology and long-range scanners. The trip will take approximately 5 days in hyperspace. Once you arrive, you'll dock at what appears to be an access point on the artifact's outer shell. From there, the exploration will begin." Marcus exchanged glances with the other members of the team. Their faces were a mixture of determination and trepidation, a shared understanding that they were about to step into the unknown. As the briefing came to an end, Serena stood at the door, offering them a final piece of advice. "This mission is unlike any we've ever faced. The artifact holds secrets that could reshape everything we know about humanity's past. But remember, your primary objective is to stop the energy waves and prevent further destabilization. The fate of Earth, and possibly the galaxy, depends on it." The following days passed in a blur of preparation. Marcus spent much of his time aboard the Eidolon, familiarizing himself with the equipment he would need to analyze the artifact's energy output. The ship was state-of-the-art, with walls lined with sleek control panels and technology Marcus had never seen before. He was used to rugged fieldwork, not the sterile precision of a military vessel. Captain Elias and Commander Vira, both experienced soldiers, were constantly running drills with the crew, preparing for any eventuality. Vira, a tall, imposing woman with violet eyes and the calm intensity of a seasoned warrior, had taken it upon herself to ensure the team was ready for whatever awaited them. Her efficiency was unnerving, but also oddly reassuring. On the 4th day, as they approached the uncharted region of space, Marcus found himself in the observation deck, staring out at the stars. It was a vast, empty expanse, silent and unknowable. The isolation pressed in on him. Despite the technological marvels surrounding him, he felt a deep connection to the cosmos, a reminder of humanity's fragile place in the galaxy. As they neared their destination, Marcus's thoughts were interrupted by a low hum that reverberated through the ship. He glanced toward the viewport, his breath catching in his throat. There it was. The artifact loomed in the distance, a dark monolith against the backdrop of space. Even from this distance, it was awe-inspiring. Its angular design seemed to distort space around it, a structure so ancient and alien that it seemed to defy reality itself. "We're approaching the artifact," the voice of the ship's A echoed through the deck. Marcus quickly made his way to the bridge, where the rest of the team had already gathered. The Eidolon began its final approach, its cloaking technology fully engaged to prevent any detection. But even as they drew closer, Marcus couldn't shake the feeling that the artifact knew they were coming, that it was waiting for them. Captain Elias was calm as ever, issuing commands to the crew. "Steady now. Bring us in close, but not too close. We don't want to trigger anything." The ship slid through the darkness, inching toward the outer edge of the megastructure. As they neared, Marcus could see the intricate details of the artifact's surface, enormous glyphs and patterns carved into the metal, symbols that defied any known language. Serena appeared at Marcus's side, her gaze fixed on the view ahead. "This is it," she murmured. "The culmination of everything we've been searching for." Marcus didn't respond. His mind was racing, filled with questions that had no answers. What had humanity built here in the distant past? Why had they created something so powerful, and why had they abandoned it? The Eidolon slowed to a halt just outside the docking port. Commander Vera led the team toward the airlock, her voice steady and commanding. "Stay alert. We don't know what we're walking into." As the airlock opened, Marcus felt a rush of cold air hit his face, and a shiver ran down his spine. This was it. They were about to step into a relic of humanity's forgotten past, an artifact that held the power to reshape the galaxy. And somewhere deep inside, Marcus knew that nothing would ever be the same again. Stepping into the airlock, Marcus's pulse quickened. The cold, sterile hum of the Eidolon faded behind them as they crossed into the docking port of the artifact. The atmosphere felt heavier here, almost oppressive. The team's boots clanked against the metal floor, the sound echoing into the vast unknown. The interior of the artifact was massive. As they moved through the narrow corridor, Marcus couldn't help but marvel at the ancient architecture surrounding them. It was unlike anything he had ever seen. The walls were engraved with strange symbols and markings, some of which glowed faintly, casting eerie shadows in the dim light. Whatever civilization had built this, they had possessed knowledge far beyond that of modern humanity, or any species known to the Galactic Council. Captain Elias took the lead, his weapon at the ready. "Keep your eyes open. No telling what might be waiting for us," he said, his voice calm but laced with caution. The team fanned out, each person assuming their assigned role. Commander Vera kept to the rear, her sharp eyes scanning every shadow and corner. Dr. Lena, the xenobiologist, examined the walls, running her scanner across the strange engravings. "This material, it's not like anything we've encountered before. It's almost alive," she muttered, her curiosity piqued. Marcus was focused on his portable energy scanner, trying to pinpoint the source of the energy waves that were disrupting Earth and other Deathworlds. The readings were off the charts, but what concerned him more was that the energy seemed to have a pattern, almost like a pulse. Whatever this artifact was, it wasn't just a relic, it was active. They came to a large chamber, its ceiling towering above them, the air feeling denser. In the center of the room stood a massive device, its purpose a mystery. It was a smooth, black sphere, floating silently in the air, surrounded by intricate machinery that pulsed with the same rhythmic energy. The team halted, their eyes locked on the object. "This is it," Serena whispered, stepping forward cautiously. "The heart of the artifact." Marcus approached the sphere, his scanner beeping wildly. The energy here was strongest, practically overwhelming the device in his hand. But there was something more. The sphere wasn't just emitting energy, it was absorbing something as well. "I don't like this," Captain Elias muttered. "We don't know what it's capable of." As if in response to his words, the black sphere began to pulse brighter. The energy rippled through the chamber, vibrating through the air. The team tensed, weapons raised. Marcus felt a strange pull, like the sphere was calling to him, drawing him closer. "What's happening?" Commander Vera barked, taking a step forward to shield the team. "Serena, what is this thing?" Serena's brow furrowed in concentration as she stared at the sphere. "I don't know, but we need to understand it before we can shut it down." Suddenly, the sphere emitted a low hum, followed by a flash of light. Marcus stumbled back, shielding his eyes. When the light faded, the chamber was still, but something had changed. The engravings on the walls were now glowing brightly, the symbols shifting and rearranging themselves. "It's a control mechanism," Marcus said, realization dawning on him. "This structure isn't just a relic. It's a machine, an ancient piece of technology built for some purpose we don't understand yet." Dr. Lena approached the sphere cautiously, her eyes wide with fascination. "This is extraordinary. If we can decipher how this works, we could unlock technologies beyond anything we've ever imagined." "That's not our mission," Captain Elias interjected sharply. "We're here to stop the energy waves, not poke around in ancient tech. We don't know what this thing could do if we tamper with it." But Marcus wasn't so sure. The energy patterns didn't feel random. They felt intentional, like the artifact was communicating in some way, trying to convey something. But what? "We need to find the main control center," Serena said decisively. "This device is just part of the puzzle. The real answers lie deeper within the artifact." The team pressed on, moving deeper into the structure. As they navigated the maze-like corridors, the air grew colder, and the strange symbols on the walls seemed to watch them. Marcus couldn't shake the feeling that they were being observed, not by any living creature, but by the artifact itself. It was as if the structure was alive in its own way, aware of their presence and responding to their movements. After what felt like hours of navigating the labyrinthine interior, they reached another large chamber. This one was different. The walls were smooth and reflective, with no markings or engravings. In the center of the room was a pedestal, and hovering above it was a holographic projection, a map of the galaxy. "This must be the control center," Serena said, stepping forward. "Look at the map. Those are the Deathworlds." The holographic display showed several points scattered across the galaxy, each one glowing faintly. Marcus recognized Earth, along with a few other high-risk worlds known for their extreme environments. "Why is it focused on Deathworlds?" Marcus wondered aloud. "What does this artifact have to do with planets like Earth?" Serena studied the map closely, her face set in concentration. The energy waves are targeting these worlds specifically. But why? "Maybe it's some kind of ancient defense system," Commander Vera suggested, "designed to protect these worlds or monitor them for some reason." Marcus shook his head. "No, it doesn't feel like a defense system. It's more like a beacon or a signal. It's sending something out, not attacking." Before they could debate further, the holographic map flickered, and a new image appeared. It was a series of symbols, ancient human writing, long lost to history. Marcus stared at it, his heart racing. "Can you read that?" Dr. Lena asked, her voice tinged with excitement. "I think I can," Marcus whispered, stepping closer to the projection. The symbols were familiar, like a half-forgotten memory from a distant past. Slowly, he began to piece together the meaning. It says, "The guardians of the past shall rise again, to reclaim what was lost." Silence fell over the room as the weight of the words sank in. The artifact wasn't just a relic, it was a remnant of an ancient human civilization, one that had built this structure to protect something. But what? And why now, after millennia of silence, had it reactivated? "We need to shut this down," Captain Elias said, his voice firm. "Whatever this thing is, we can't risk it awakening something we can't control." Marcus hesitated, torn between his duty and his curiosity. The artifact was dangerous, that much was clear. But it was also a link to humanity's forgotten past, a piece of history that could change everything they knew about themselves and their place in the galaxy. As he prepared to make his decision, the chamber suddenly trembled. The ground beneath them shook, and the air grew thick with energy. The artifact was responding, but to what? "Something's happening," Serena said, her voice tense. "We need to move now." Marcus's mind raced as they prepared to leave. Whatever secrets the artifact held, they would have to wait. For now, their priority was survival and stopping the energy waves before it was too late.